Alright, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Siege of Avalon, here on my channel, Idle Wisdom. We're back here in the Outer Bailey. Last time we were transferred to Mudam's control, and he gave us permission to, and some training and sent us out to go scout out in the village, both to look for Corvus, but also to bring news of what's going on out there. We're supposed to be very careful though, because since many of the scouts have been killed recently or disappeared, so yeah, that sounds dangerous. And then here in the Outer Bailey, Mudam had told us to talk to Olan, the information merchant, and he said he would help us if we helped him help a friend of his, Pelendrian the mage, with her, and she has a problem with her love, Lauren, and you know, he's I don't know. We know what's up with that. It's kind of a unfortunate situation. Lauren is kind of a coward. I kind of understand it. It's easy to, I don't know, sometimes you act like a coward and then you become ashamed of yourself and you think other people hate you because of it. And you're too ashamed and too doubtful that you could ever make it right again, even though they want you to and they would forgive you right away. Or even maintain that there was nothing to forgive. But, you know, so we have to find a gift for him to give to Pelendrian. However, there's nothing here, so we have to go out in the village as well to look for that. Olan told us that we need to go talk to Friar Mastis here and to the wizard Elrath. Both of them know something about the village, so let's talk to him. Hello again. I heard the news of your brother. Know that we offer prayers for his sake. Thank you, Friar. I understand you lived in the village outside Avalon. Indeed, I lived there for 3 short years before the Sha'ahoul ran us all away from our church. I'm going on an expedition out there soon. Olan, the merchant, said you might be able to provide me with some useful information about the village. Oh, Olan told you this, did he? He must have been mistaken. I kept mostly to the church, and from what I've seen from the walls, there's little left of the village I knew. So there's nothing at all that you could tell me about the outside? I may not be able to help you, but you are entirely in a position to help me. Typical. I have fundraising. I have a capital campaign, and I need help. Well, what can I do to help you? During the evacuation of the village, a minor artifact was left behind. Until recently, it has not been of much concern. The church still stands, and I'm sure it remains safely hidden in the cellar. However, in the last little while, some of the more pious and superstitious of the peasants have started to believe that the loss of the Chalice of Life was a foretelling of our eventual defeat. Ah, minor artifact, huh? Chalice of Life? I will do everything I can to recover it, Friar. There's no telling what may have taken up residence in the old church. It will be dangerous, but if you will wish to try, we will pray for your success and safety. Well, then I will do my best, Friar. Man. Friar Mastis of the Outer Keep's chapel told me of a chalice that was lost when the village was evacuated to Avalon. It is a magical artifact, and is likely hidden somewhere inside the village's church. I should return the chalice to the friar when I've located it. Okay. Yep, we just heard that. The peasants believe that this is omen of doom, but he's not. Callan doesn't believe it. I went to see the friar as Olan recommended. He was kind, but not helpful. He did not know much about the village, but he did ask a favor. He wants me to find a chalice he left in the old church during the evacuation of the village. Until recently, he had not been concerned about it being lost. However, some of the more pious and superstitious of the peasants... Yeah, okay. Yeah, we heard this too. Man, they're just repeating themselves everywhere. Well, we got a quest. That indicates that the church is probably still standing. Oh no, this is not where I need to be. Oh geez, let's get out of here. This place is full of coughing and sickies. Let's go upstairs and talk to Elrath. Yep. Elrath, L-Y. Hello, Elrath, sir. So, you've come back to see the old wizard, eh? How can I help you, lad? Okay, I'm going on a mission to the village soon. I was told by Olan the merchant that you knew something of the village. Let's see. The village is built on the ruins of an ancient city. When we first arrived, we took what stone we needed to build Avalon from the ruins. Now they are an elaborate underground network that is virtually abandoned. However, I wouldn't be surprised to learn that they are currently inhabited by numerous animals, or perhaps even more exotic creatures. Huh. Is that all you remember? No, I'm pretty certain of that. Oh wait, there is something else. I've actually been trying to recover a valuable artifact from the village for some time now. It's an amulet that is needed for the research I'm doing on a certain portal. Elazar had the amulet last, but it was lost when he abandoned his tower. The tower itself is magically sealed, but the amulet is believed to have been lost when the cart carrying much of Elazar's research broke an axle and spilled its contents on the ground while passing through the village. The amulet should be on the ground near the broken cart. I will see what I can do. Oh, thank you for your kindness, lad. With the amulet, hopefully I will be able to finally open the portal. I will await your return. I'll see you soon, Elrath. And let's talk to him again. I haven't much had... Any news? Very little changes in the citadel under siege. The list of dead and dying soldiers grows a little longer, and the hunger gnawing away at every belly grows a little stronger. We all pray that the tide turns in our favor soon. That would be a welcome change. Will you be returning to the village soon? Soon enough. I will continue looking for your amulet. I thank you for your efforts, lad. I will look forward to your return. Yep. Alright. Okay. Well enough, sir. Do you know, Sir Wizard, of the mage Palandrin? Ah, the lovely Pella has caught your eye, eh, lad? Were I 40 years younger, and perhaps even 30. But her heart's already taken, you know. Aaron, the lucky fellow's name is, I believe. No, wait. Lauren. Yes, Lauren. Yes, I know. I was wondering if what you might know of her. Oh, not a lot. Not a lot. Been busy with my research, you know. And she's taken to moping about since her love won't talk to her. The tribulations of youth, I remember them well. I will say that I'm surprised my fellow Fornaxons let her leave the country. Or perhaps it was they couldn't keep her in. Well, what do you mean, Sir Wizard? She's powerful, lad. To that I'll admit. Beyond that, however, it is not for me to say. She's a good person to know, though. I just hope that unfortunate circumstance with her love is worked out in good order. Well, as do I, sir. Good day to you. Huh. Let's see, any training? Let's see what you could train. So, what would you like instruction in? Let's see what you could learn. This might be worth... Hold spell. If you're playing as a mage, this is like the most useful spell right here. I mean, you want other things too, but this right there. So you can, like, paralyze and hold enemies still so they can't catch you. And then you can fireball them to death. Let's take this healing spell. I want a healing spell. If you ever get wounded in combat, and it's a depressingly regular occurrence, I'm afraid, you will have two choices. Wrap a dirty bandage around the wound and hope the bleeding ceases, or use the heal spell and be instantly whole. Not much of a choice, I should think. Does this sound like something you would like to know how to cast? Yes, it does. Alright. Alright, anything else? Nothing now, Wiseman. Thank you for your time. Excellent. Oh, here's an apprentice, I think. I didn't see him before. Sherard. Hello, I am Sherard. What do you do? I am Elarath's assistant. I have been his aide for many years now, since before the war. We came here from Fornax together. Well, do you like working for a wizard? I like working with him well enough, truth be told. It's even a bit endearing having him never remember my name. He's getting a bit forgetful, you know. Nevertheless, if those Sha'ahoul monsters try coming over the walls, he'll sling spells at them like few others can. Magic is graven so deeply into his soul, he could never forget it. And with luck and courage, I'll be at his side, though hopefully by then I'll have fully memorized Flame. Oh, a wizard like you would always be welcome by my side. I'm glad to know you. Huh. Although you should be able to cast Flame by now. It's a very easy spell. Any news? I hear the morale outside the keep has been terrible lately, especially with the failure of the latest relief mission. I wouldn't worry though if I were you. There are many brilliant minds working on this problem. We are in safe hands. Well, that's good to know. Thanks. I like what he says about it's kind of endearing about him never remembering his name. That is like, in a way it's true. In a way it's kind of annoying, but after a while it becomes kind of endearing. I've had like professors who are like old monks, or old classicists and old philosophers who are monks and who are philosophers, and this other guy who's not a monk but a classicist, could tell you all about languages and the origins of the roots of just about any Western word in ancient Germanic or Sanskrit or what have you, or Proto-Indo-European, early Proto-Indo-European, all that stuff. Couldn't remember my name to save his life. And like that one professor, the monk who was a philosopher, he always would get my name wrong. And the thing that was kind of endearing about it in a way was that he always called me the same wrong name. It's not like he just like, who are you again? He knew who I was, like knew what I was studying, what I was interested in, more or less, and all that. But he always got my name wrong. Never could remember my name, no matter how many times I would told him it. All right. Oh, let's check these quests. Okay. Elarath, the wizard, has told me of an amulet lost in the village and would like me to find it for him. Unfortunately, his suggestion that the amulet would still be lying beside the broken cart it spilled from is likely rather naive. I shall, however, keep my eyes open for an amulet. Yeah, it's a bit, it's like, yeah, it'll probably be lying there. The owl wouldn't have just picked it up. Okay, so Avalon was apparently built on the ruins of an ancient city from which much of the stone used in Avalon's construction was taken. All that remains of it, however, is a network of underground tunnels. And the wizard Elarath is researching some kind of portal. While he did not go into details, he has told me that he requires a certain amulet to continue. A portal to where, I wonder? I would have asked, but his impatient, harried countenance prevented me from speaking with him further. He didn't seem very harried. But maybe when he was talking about that, he got a little bit flustered or whatever. I asked Elarath, the wizard, about Pelandrian, but though he made references to being surprised that she was allowed out of Fornax, perhaps hinting at a hidden connection between her and her land, all he would confirm is that she is a talented mage. This, unfortunately, I had guessed previously. Yeah, she taught us a really cool spell, and we're not a wizard, so let's go to the south gate. South gate, south gate, south gate. Alright. Oh, those jerks are still here. Hey, jerks. Beat it! Get lost, kid. Man, a bunch of jerks. Let's go talk to this, Lucan? I want to see what training he offers again. Maybe we can take him up on some of his training. Training? Weapon balance. Coordination. Or 5 hit points and +1 to healing rate? I think that'll be good. Let's take it. Bamsis. We're going to take all these things, but, which ones to take first? So let's look at our character. Character. Yeah. There we are. Look at our hit points now, 30. Our healing rate is now 5 points per minute instead of 3 points a minute, which it was when we were dealing with those water bugs. Little water bug. Those giant freaking water bugs. Okay, well, the time has come for us to actually step outside of Avalon. Let's actually do a couple things first, though. Let's see, yes. Save our game. Yes. Okay, so what I wanted to do, let's actually go out of. Oh, let me see. Hold on. No, okay. Resume. Let's go back out here to the Bailey. Bailey for just a second. Well, not for a second. What I wanted to actually do is go to the history. So we've been hearing people talk about the Aul and the situation of them overrunning Oriam and burning it up and whatnot. But it's like, why are the Sha'ahoul attacking the Seven Kingdoms and whatnot? And I think this is a good point to read this little bit of history. It's 6 pages, so it's a bit, but it's not too much. And I think it will put the story more into context. So think of it as we're boning up on our background, our knowledge of the situation. Maybe there in Elithria, we knew the general gist of things, but we didn't really know the exact, what was up. So this will give us a better sense of who the Aul are and why they're attacking and all that sort of thing. So this is going back some time. Smoke from a chimney is the blame for all that has befallen the people of Oriam. It was smoke from nothing greater than cooking fires that first betrayed the existence of a small farming community to the nomads. For hundreds, perhaps thousands of years, the nomads and our people had never encountered each other. If not for that accursed smoke, it may be that they never would have. The steppes are, after all, endless, and where they meet the lands of Urail, they are at their bleakest. However, that the smoke was there, and riders from the clan of the grass leopard did see it. Nothing can change that now. The cooking fire belonged to settlers from Oriam who had moved out into the steppes the year before in search of land to call their own. However, the land was not theirs alone. It was also the wintering grounds of a clan of Sha'ahoul. You idiots. The Sha'ahoul are a culture of nomads who wander the great steppes of the east in numbers rivaling those of the stars. Somewhere, somehow, two cultures, one of humans and one of Aul, a close cousin to the common orc, joined to form a single nomadic culture that we now know as the Sha'ahoul. The Sha'ahoul follow a belief that the world has a balance. Just as a year is balanced by 4 seasons, they believe that the 4 races balance the world. Each season embodies the strength of a race, and each race in turn embodies the strength of an element. The Sha'ahoul represent 2 of the 4 races. The Aul are the people of summer and fire, while the Sha'men, the human half of the Sha'ahoul, are the people of fall and wind. As nomads of the steppes, these represent the good seasons, times of good hunting and prosperity. Winter is a time when the earth is barren, game is scarce, while spring on the plains is a time of floodwaters. These are the bad times. To the nomads, anyone who would strip the earth bare and seeks to shape it is a threat. Ruh-roh, you can already see where this is going. Hello, vulture. Ah, there they are. There's the Sha'ahoul attacking, I think. It looks like. So it was, in the unusually harsh winter of the year 239, that the smoke from an innocent cooking fire brought the attention of the grass leopard clan to a small settlement of grain farmers from Oriam. They were doing what was to the Sha'ahoul an unspeakably evil act, stripping and shaping the earth. Believing these farmers to be the source of the harsh winter, the chief of the leopard grass clan, Mithras, ordered his people to cleanse the soil of this evil with fire and blood. The villagers were unprepared for an attack and didn't stand a chance even against the small raiding party that Mithras sent against them. To the credit of the villagers and the people of Oriam as a whole, they put up quite a fight, standing against the charging Aul warriors with pitchforks, hoes, and scythes. Every able-bodied man in the village stood his ground against the charge, making a stand for the land they had worked and bled for. Every defender of the village died that night. The women were taken as slaves, and the children, oh, the things that were done to the children that night. None lived to see the dawn. What a bunch of jerks. The inhabitants dealt with. The raiders turned their attention to the village itself. Using their mounts, they trampled the neat rows of tilled earth flat, and with their bare hands they pulled apart every brick of every building in the village. By the time the sun was fully in the sky the following day, nothing remained of the small village. You could pass within 100 yards of where it stood the day before, and never know it had existed. Everything that the raiders considered of any value they carted away to be divided among the clan. If fate had been kinder, or Mithras a little more drunk on the captured wine, it might have ended there on that bloody night. However, Tabrek, an especially bright half-breed clansman, noticed many finely crafted works of metal among the captured artifacts, and questioned the slaves on how they were made. Although how he questioned them, I don't know. If the two cultures never, well, maybe he, like, pointing, like, where? On how they were made. Failing to receive an answer that satisfied his curiosity, and with no evidence of metalworking tools, he concluded that there must be another village nearby, and took his suspicions to Mithras. Appalled by the idea of more dirt men nearby, Mithras ordered the new slaves tortured until the location of the new village was discovered. What the Sha'ahoul learned of that night was not the location of a single village, but the existence of the whole of Urael and its 7 kingdoms. Word of Mithras's discovery crossed the steppes like the storm winds, and reached the far-flung tribes despite the harsh winter that continued to blanket the land. As winter gave way to spring, Mithras gathered the closest clans for a council. They, in turn, called for a gathering, an event of such magnitude as to only occur once every few generations. For a year, the clans gathered, and the west saw nothing of the storm on the horizon. Finally, in the year 240, Mithras led the gathered clans out of the steppes and into the kingdom of Oriam. From the beginning, the Sha'ahoul found little in Oriam that could stand against them as they advanced against the kingdom. They sacked and burned village after village, town after town, as they steadily moved west, destroying everything before them. Oriam had been a frontier farming nation with strong relations with their neighbors for generations before Mithras's arrival, and as such, her cries for help did not go unnoticed. Their leader, King Rience, sent for help from the neighboring kingdoms of Elithria and Cathay, and they responded by sending some 300 knights along with their followers to meet the forces of Oriam at their capital. Unfortunately, none of them completed their journey. The gathered Sha'ahoul forces had advanced quickly through the summer, and with unfortunate speed had managed to cut off the combined Elithrian and Cathayan forces. Engaging them in a ferocious battle, they emerged victorious, leaving no survivors. By this time, the Avalon had succeeded in putting the eastern third of Oriam to the torch. Oh, jeez. That is no good. What? I guess it's a dead night? I don't know. Tens of thousands of people fled the Sha'ahoul storm, refugees heading west to escape the genocidal horde flooding deeper into Oriam every day. The defenders of Oriam were defeated at every turn, and in the autumn of 240, the capital of Oriam fell. Mighty King Rience himself had become a refugee. The other 4 kingdoms, Nissos, Eretoi, Taberland, and Fornax, took notice of this and sent ambassadors to meet with Rience's exiled court. Upon arrival, they pledged warriors and supplies to stop the invaders. Thus, the Urael coalition was born. About this time, autumn turned to winter, and granted a reprieve. This winter was unusually harsh, and succeeded where the defenders of Oriam failed. The Sha'ahoul were forced to halt their advance to weather the winter storms, and in that precious time, the kingdoms in the west leaped upon the opportunity to gather their forces. Their weather was as unusually mild as Oriam's was harsh, and some of the people now hold the opinion that the mysterious wizards of Fornax had manipulated the weather. The Fornaxans did not claim responsibility for this, and it's just as well they didn't, for the season's bitter cold killed some 100,000 refugees. That's a lot of refugees. As the lingering frost of winter dissipated under the sun of spring, with friends like that, you don't need enemies. Jeez. As the lingering frost of winter dissipated under the sun of spring, the army of the coalition of Urael reached Oriam and advanced into the heartland, where it dealt Mithras his first major defeat at the site of a dwarven mining colony. Let me get some coffee. Realizing the need for a secure marshaling point from which to conduct the war against the invaders from the east, the 7 kingdoms committed vast resources towards the construction of a citadel. Grateful for the rescue of their colony, the dwarves offered to help in the creation of the citadel's mighty walls. The site, chosen for its easy access to everything the counter-offensive needs, lies between the dwarven mines and the nearby river Vol. The citadel was placed on top of the ruins of an ancient city so that some of the ruins underneath could be used in its construction. Mithras, caught unprepared for the strength of the counterattack, pulled his forces back and settled in for a long fight. Come on. Oh, there you are. Look at that. By the summer of 243, the citadel reached its completion. As the as the council hall and the best hope of the Seven Kingdoms, it has been dubbed Avalon, the Fortress of Kings. Meanwhile, yeah, because that's what Avalon means, right? Fortress of Kings is. I don't know what Avalon really means. I should look that up at some point. I mean, Avalon, of course, is the Isle of Avalon from British lore. And I think isn't that the island that Arthur, when he dies, his body is taken, or his, either his body or his almost dead self is taken to Avalon by the three powerful ladies, Morgan Le Fay, Vivian, and one other one, where he is kept like asleep, almost dead or asleep, and so that he can return later. But anyways, yeah, Avalon. I think there was a druidic school supposedly on it, but who knows if that's true. Meanwhile, the Sha'ahoul were driven steadily back towards their homelands by the combined forces of the nations of the West. After 5 years of continuous victory, the Sha'ahoul were finally driven out of Oriam at the Great Battle of Three Hills. The cost for the West was high. Over 15,000 troops lost their lives in the offensive, including King Tortain of Taborland. That must be him right here. His son, a boy of mere 11 years, succeeded him in feudal fashion. The newly crowned King Vortigern's succession was quickly contested, and the nobles feared an incipient civil war. The Taborlanders quickly returned to their homeland to keep order. However, Mithras had not been idle. With his forces bolstered by the arrival of warriors from 3 clans from the far eastern lands of the Sha'ahoul, his zeal was reinforced, and during the spring of 247, he pushed forth once again into the lands of Oriam. Unfortunately for the defenders, full-fledged civil war broke out in Taborland shortly afterward, preventing the return of the skilled Taborlander military force, including the prized heavy cavalry units. A good note, cavalry, that's, horse-mounted troops back in the day. But the word cavalry, means that sort of horse-bound military, or horse-riding military units. People often say, and as I just did accidentally, cavalry, and that you often hear people saying that, and of course that is incorrect. Calvary is the hill outside of Jerusalem, also called Golgotha, which was the hill of the skull, hence Calvary, like Calavera in Spanish. But it's the hill on which Jesus was executed by the Romans. It was a hill apparently where the Romans in Jerusalem at the time executed people to crucify people. So yeah, that's what Calvary is. Cavalry is, horse riding military units. Oh, look at that. That's cool. It was the beginning of a terrible Aul offensive. By the spring of 248, the Sha'ahoul had succeeded in the recapture of the eastern third of Oriam. The forces of the west, depleted by their own offensive as well as the civil unrest in Taborland, simply could not hold out against the fresh troops brought to bear upon them. Mithras began to push relentlessly towards Avalon, and ground was lost to the advancing Sha'ahoul forces every day. Elsewhere, King Vortigern, then a young man of 16, began to regain control of his lands. The boy king had proven to be an able commander and politician, and had soon succeeded in quelling the civil war in Taborland. As the colors of autumn fell upon the land, so did the Aul fall upon Avalon. Driving wild animals, bandits, and grotesque monsters before them, Mithras's horde descended upon the city that had sprung up in the shadow of Avalon's great walls. The inhabitants of the city fled, most seeking shelter within its walls, and the lucky ones even further west, leaving the city to the invaders. For 8 months now the siege has continued, with neither side breaking the will of the other, and that balance cannot last much longer. Wow. So here we have two Sha'ahoul warriors. These look like they're probably shaman, like probably scouts or at least archers. And they look pretty cool. Some major tattooing going on there. Man. So there we are. So that's the background of the game. Pretty cool. Pretty interesting, I think. So, that brings us to this point where we are ready to actually head out into the village. But I think we will do that next time. I know this is really slow progress, but you know, this is as much a reading adventure and a talking adventure as it is a doing things adventure. So next time we will actually do things that include, you know, scouting about, finding stuff and killing monsters, and maybe some Sha'ahoul scouts. Who knows? So thank you for joining me on this episode of my Let's Play of Siege of Avalon here on my channel, Idle Wisdom. Take care, y'all.